Hi, I'm Mac McCarthy, and I help people with their breakups. And today we got 5 ways to turn off your man in a relationship or turn off men in a relationship. Um, this is a really good topic because there's a lot of videos out there on this, And the thing is, let me just start off with saying that this differs for different men, but what happens with all these videos that are made, myself included, a lot of people project what they think is a turnoff for themselves as a turnoff for every man out there. So, or women that make the videos will be like, this is what turns off men, but they're really just projecting what's turned off men in their lives, boyfriends, husbands, etc. So, I'm going to tell you my take as being a relationship and specifically a breakup coach for 4 years plus, talking to people from around the world with their breakups, relationship issues. What's really interesting about my perspective, obviously it's going to be a little bit more objective, much more worldly. And it might surprise some people that some of the things that everyone thinks, oh, that's what it is. A lot of times you're just thinking about things that pertain to you. Okay. And so the first list that I give you, I'm going to give you things that I believe can qualify as generalizations that are true, probably 80% of the time, 70% of the time, but not for everyone. And this is what's amazing about the masculine, feminine, men, women. Whenever someone makes a video, this is what men do, this is what women do. There's exceptions to the rule like never before because we're not cavemen anymore. We're not fee-fi-fo. Things have changed so much with the internet, with jobs and different things like that, that there's a lot of guys that are masculine in some situations and extremely feminine in other situations. And so things have changed. Okay. And so when someone goes, oh, this is what all men do, just don't let, this is my main thing. I've been getting a lot of people in coaching calls that have these rules. Well, this is, I know this is what men are supposed to do. And they literally rehearse or regurgitate like Corey Wayne or someone else. And I like Corey Wayne, got a lot of respect for him. But you still need to develop your own playbook. Okay. So when you kind of think, oh, this is what all women do, and this is what men do, and this is what I have to do. Well, you have to learn yourself first and what you value, right? Some people are literally being programmed to like or be something they're really not, but that's what's been imprinted on them or programmed on them through IG or YouTube. So when I get into this today, it's going to be kind of interesting because I'm going to tell you, I'll give you examples from being based on being a relationship coach and breakup coach for over 4 years now. And then I'll also tail that out with things that turn me off in women personally. Okay, personally. And the reason I'm going to do that is to just show you that you might see some things that turn me off that you're like, oh, that bothers you? Really? Or because we're different. And the thing is about turnoffs, correct me if I'm wrong. We got a few on deck, and put this in the comments below if you agree. Turnoffs are very unique. There's some things that your friends might say like, oh, I can't stand this about her. And you're like, really? That bothers you? Right? They're very unique and intricate to individuals. So to generalize, oh, this is what all men are turned off by, it's not necessarily always true. So don't live and die by this stuff. All right? So let's get into it. So the list that I'm going to start with, this is me based on being a relationship coach and talking to people. Number one, most guys don't like bossy women, okay? Even though they end up in relationships with them. So let me elaborate on that. So a lot of people say, oh yeah, no guys like bossy women. Actually, there's a lot of guys that are in relationships like that. They might complain about it a little bit, but they actually aren't good at making decisions. Their parents had this relationship where the mom was the boss. There's guys that don't mind it. Okay. Overall, though, when I'm dealing with someone in a breakup and they're in a relationship where the woman was controlling, here's what's really interesting about that, or bossy. The guy thinks, oh, I needed to be more masculine in that situation. Here's the thing. She wouldn't accept that because that's not what she wants in a relationship. So from the outside in, Someone like myself is like, damn, man, you're settling for, being a doormat, right? But there's some guys that's the kind of relationships they end up in. It's not by accident. They're not going to become masculine Jocko Willink, David Goggins overnight, right? They're not going to be in those relationships. So what I mean by that is they think it's kind of by chance that they get these bossy women. But really, there's some guys that like bossy women. They like women that take charge, right? I would say that a majority of men don't like bossy women, especially men that are masculine, men that are on their purpose, right? They would be ones that are going to shy away from that, okay? People overall don't like bossy people anyways. Number 2, this is actually a big one. Bad dressing. And I'm going to get specific and elaborate on that. This could range from overly lazy to overly sexy. It depends on the guy. So when you have a girlfriend or you're official, think about this for a minute. You start saying, this is my girlfriend. This is my wife. This is an extension of who I am. And in a lot of ways, when we go outside, how she looks, how she acts, it's an extension of your identity a lot of times. Whether you like that or not, it's the truth. So I've had clients before where one guy in particular was like, I really don't like the way she dresses either. He's going through these things about the relationship and the problems and whatnot. And then he's like, yeah, I don't like the way she dresses too. And I'm thinking immediately to my mind, I'm thinking too sexy, right? Too scant, right? Because a lot of guys have trouble with that because they're like, that's mine. I don't want other guys checking you out. No, he was saying, and this is a big one now in the States, because when I went back to the States for 6 months, there's a lot of people that dress lazy, that dress in sweats and slippers. And if you're one of those people, go for you. It's who you are, right? But when you're with someone and they dress in a certain way that's not your style, it could be a major turnoff. And so this one guy was like, no, she wears sweats all the time. I was like, wow. And he's like, I just like her to wear a pair of jeans sometimes, right? And this has become way more common after COVID. Correct me if I'm wrong. There's way more people that dress like this. So regardless if it's a lifestyle choice or not, I'm saying it's a turnoff when a guy wears a suit to work and his wife or his girlfriend, after probably when they went on dates, this didn't happen. But then when she gets comfortable, she starts wearing slippers and being really lazy about her dress attire. This can be a major turnoff. On the flip side, a lot of guys don't like when their girlfriend, who pulled them with a short mini skirt, goes out in a mini skirt, and he no longer wants her to, kind of advertise that way, if you know what I mean. So bad dressing, and that could go two sides of the spectrum. Number 3, openly, this would probably be universal. So if I was going to give you one that was actually true for 90% of men, openly flirting with other men, especially in his face. Major, major turnoff. If you're going to do it and that's your personality and you're like, that's just what happens, I'm just friendly, definitely do not do it in his face or within a mixed group of friends. And definitely don't do it with close friends and family members. And this happens a lot. It's embarrassing sometimes. If you witness it, you're like, damn. You can tell when someone's sweet on someone. So if you're at a family gathering and you got cousins and your cousin brings some friends, you know where I'm going with this, and one of the friends is like, your girl's hot, so he's looking at her all the time. But that's the thing you got to deal with when you date a woman that's good looking. There's going to be guys like that. Now, how she responds to that with a little smile, a little stop and talk for 10 minutes. Oh, we were just talking. That can be a big turnoff for a guy, how she handles that situation if she becomes extremely flirtatious. And I would add to the flirtatious, alcohol usually makes it a little worse. That's literally gasoline on the flirt fire. So number 4, women who hit the weights a bit too much. Most men don't like big muscles on their girlfriends. I would say that this is probably 70 to 80%. Again, there's an exception out there. There's guys that like this. There's guys that are, Arnold Schwarzenegger types that think it's kind of cool that, their woman has huge muscles. I've seen some stuff on Instagram where I'm like, wow, that's a female. I mean, good for you. Number 5, women that talk bad about their family, friends, and especially their mothers. I would say this usually doesn't come up till you're in a breakup, but I've seen this so many times where guys will be talking to me about their breakup and they'll be like, dude, she used to talk bad about her mom. And to their defense, you didn't have that mom or that lifestyle and you don't know what went on, but it is a turnoff for a guy because how she talks about her friends and family, eventually it's gonna bleed over to other people she's close to. And it's just negative, right? Number 6, which is a bonus, women who appear to be annoyed with kids. Think about that one for a minute. Even if you don't have kids, even if you don't want kids with your girlfriend or your wife, even if you're putting that to the side, isn't it a turnoff if your girlfriend or wife, you're at a family gathering or friend gathering, or there's just kids in a restaurant and they're just sickened by kids? They're like, ugh, look at how they're acting. Get away from me. Because really, if we think about how we started humankind and why you are attracted to a woman is the fact that eventually you're thinking subliminally about breeding. So the fact that she hates kids or would be a bad mom or not even want to be one, I think is a turnoff. Whether someone wants to admit that or not, let me know what you think about that one. Because I don't think that one's in a lot of videos are talked about, but I think it's absolutely true, right? All right, so this is where I'm going to tell you about things that turn me off in women, specifically my stuff, my things. And it was kind of interesting just to do this quick list, what popped up. And it's literally a quick list. I don't sit there for like 20 minutes. And I would add, if you're single or you're having trouble in your relationship, make a list of the things that turn you off and actually think to yourself, what am I putting up with that really does turn me off? Think about your past relationships where you just put up with something that really turns you off in lieu of intimacy, in lieu of the relationship, right? But it really bothered you. So these are just specific things. And the reason why I did these specific things is not to give you a peek into my life so much. It's just to show you that the general things that all these YouTube videos are making where they're like, these are 5 things for men. The 5 things that are specific to me, some people will be like, I don't have a problem with that. So I just want to punch home the fact that make your own list. Make your own list. And please, if you're watching this video later on, put it in the comments. Put your top 5 things that turn you off. All right, so here's mine. Number 1, ugly feet. Now, someone would say, what? What? In my life, I've lived in San Diego. I've lived in Thailand. I've lived island life. So there's a lot of flip-flops. There's a lot of bare feet. And it's just one of those things. Someone might say, oh, that's not under people's control. There's foot management, I suppose, but that's just one thing that turns me off. Okay. Broke feet. Have you ever seen the movie Boomerang with Eddie Murphy? You'd know what I mean. I take care of my feet and my hands, and it's just one of those things that instantly will turn me off and kind of stay with me. And there's some bad feet out there, right? Too tall or overly skinny. This is just a specific thing for me, right? Doesn't mean that everyone would line up with this, right? Okay. So other people out there, oh, I don't like women that are really tall. Someone says they can't help that. I know. I'm just saying that that's one of my things, right? Specific. Bad breath. Now, this is one that is absolutely universal for men and women. Okay. Actually, way back in the day, I've talked about this before. I used to get Playboy magazine for the articles. And whenever they had the centerfolds, they would always say turnoffs. And the women would always have bad breath as a turnoff. So this is one of those things when you're single and you're getting ready to mingle again, just make sure you get some mouthwash. Watch what you eat. It's not time for garlic and onions at dinner. Number 4, a big one for me is just being stuck up, right? And a lot of guys will put up with a stuck up woman in favor that she's hot, that she's good looking. But just being stuck up about who you are, which to me, being stuck up is you're better than people. Um, and that leads to my next one that really turns me off specifically is materialistic, especially with being obsessed with like high-end clothing brands and bags. That's just a no-no for me. And someone might go, "Oh, well, you're cheap." I just don't value that stuff. Like if someone bought like a $900 bag, I would I would I would think that's just a waste of money. There's the interesting thing about buying something that's expensive like a bag, because a bag has utility, right? It's useful. For example, I think it's very intelligent to spend a lot of money on your computer. Highly useful item. Maybe even your car. Highly useful item. Okay. A bag, useful. If you get a bag that just has a name on it, I mean, some of these handbags out there, they're not designed in a way that is anything but the name. And so for me, to be completely frank and honest, it conveys a little bit of a lack of intelligence that you find value in something that's been advertised and sold as expensive, but really the bag was probably made for, I don't know, a tenth of the price. You've been duped, really. And there's a whole subculture that believes in this high value of these bags, right? And so that's just one for me. Materialistic, overly materialistic. I can live with liking nice things and nice clothes. Um, Extreme cases, obsessions with certain brands, no. Number 6, not valuing exercise and eating healthy. Now, I just want to elaborate on that a little bit. There's some people out there that just don't exercise, and they don't. You're thinking to yourself, "Wow, they don't even look like it. They actually look good, or they look slim." But the fact that they don't exercise at all, and I do, and I value exercise, it's a turnoff, because where's that headed, right? Eating healthy. Now, when I say eating healthy, I don't mean you have to like watch your calories and be specific. Just care a little bit. Don't be sloppy about in this day and age with the internet. There's so much information out there that you could eat a little bit better. You could care a little bit more. And this is one of those things. Maybe it's not affecting you at 25. Maybe you have a great metabolism, but at some point it is. And then there's just, if you're the type to eat healthy, it's going to turn you off when other people don't. So again, this wouldn't turn off everyone. There's plenty of people that go to fast food restaurants for their dates, probably. Number 7, being obsessed with social media. Big turn off for myself. Obviously, social media is a part of life now. Being obsessed with it, or addicted to it, major turn off. And I think this would go for men and women. And the final one would be, for me personally, too much makeup, especially white powder. Too much makeup's a big one for me. It's personal. So, I mean, there's guys out there that if the lighting's right, you're at a restaurant, you're at a bar, and a woman wears makeup, you might think she's absolutely gorgeous, knockout, beautiful, right? If you see her in the sunlight, you can literally see the line where the makeup starts, and it's a different color. You know, is that a turn on? Right. All right. So I do have a story on deck. One story. And let me know if you guys in the chat have any turnoffs you want to add that I didn't touch on that are specific to you or you think are general just to men overall. So the reason, like I said, the reason why I did that is not to tell you what I think, just to tell you how different it is than these people that generalize, oh, this is what all men are turned off by. I think that in this day and age, there are a few, like bad breath. Even the idea of what's hot and what's not has changed so much. Culture kind of dictates what's attractive. So the idea that a specific look is a turnoff. That's why I said bad dressing. I said overly lazy or overly hot. My point was that it's a turnoff for men when it's one extreme or the other. And it contradicts who they are or what they believe to be good dressing. Does that make sense? All right. So we're at the 20-minute mark here. We'll start this. This story just came in a couple days ago. If you have a story you want to send it into writemac.com. Link will be down below, and we can unpack it in a YouTube video like this. All right. I began talking to a guy about 2.5 months ago. We met on the Bumble dating app, and he is 36 and I'm 32. Thank you for the age. So here we go. This just proves that Bumble or dating apps can work. A lot of people say, oh, they're horrible. Things between us were going really well and in the right direction. We communicated every day, mostly through messaging and voice notes. And saw, okay, because I was just going to ask, like, did you even see each other? Because there's a lot of people starting relationships where they don't even meet. They just go online. And saw one another 1 to 2 days a week when we could, and live about an hour from each other. We both made it clear from the start that we were looking for a relationship in general. And I've met his family twice and stayed a couple of times at his place, which he says are really big things for him, as he hasn't been with a woman in that way for over 2 years. Wow, that's a long time. It's a dormant volcano there. I think I only met his family early on because I park at his sister's place, as there's free parking spaces. All right, well, bottom line is you met online, started seeing each other 1 to 2 days a week is really nice. You're 1 hour apart. That's not bad. That's doable. So it seems like it's a good start. About 2 years before we met, he had been single after splitting up with his ex in 2020, as he said she had cheated and walked out on him. They had just bought a flat together at the time, and said he lost, I'm not going to say how much money, a lot of savings too, and doesn't think he would be able to buy a property in the future, as he would have to start from the beginning. Anyway, he had eventually moved into a flat much smaller and completely changed his career from working in a travel industry for 15 years and now working as a job in law enforcement after being made redundant following the pandemic. He's been in this role for just over a year. So really quick, travel industry, law enforcement. I'm being vague purposely because I don't want to say exactly what he did. 2 different careers, different jobs, different roles, different identities. This can screw with people's minds, mental health. I've known a few clients in the past that have done live coaching sessions due to COVID, due to doing a job for a long time that didn't pay well or didn't have a long-term security, actually went into law enforcement and really didn't like it. It wasn't their thing. I had one guy that was actually a tennis instructor that went into being a cop. And he was like, I don't like it. I just like the security of it and whatnot. But really, your job will change who you are. So if he found this job, and I'm thinking that you wrote this because it is a problem, it will affect your relationship. Because if he was somewhere for 15 years, it's going to hit his identity hard. He found his current work really stressful and experienced a lot of anxiety, more recently panic attacks. Okay, so he's identified the problem, which is half your battle, as the great G.I. Joe says. If work's the problem, probably needs to go see a therapist and talk about what specific problems, or a coach like myself, and talk specifically about what's stressing him out at work, how he can work through that, because he knows what it is. Okay. And he's aware panic attacks are serious. For example, and I would say if he's law enforcement, this is probably a public job, or not public job, but a city job. So he probably has the benefits to see a therapist. So I would probably start there. For example, a situation he was dealing with reminded him of his past, whereby he was a victim of domestic abuse from previous partners. He has mostly had a history of poor relationships since he was 14. He has thought about leaving this current job, but is not sure what else to do. Well, that's a dilemma. Okay. He is also on a low salary and suffers from anxiety, as has a diagnosis of borderline personality disorder. Okay. So just to start, You're not an expert on that. I'm not an expert on borderline personality disorder. He needs to go to a specialist for that and address it. He's at a crossroads with this job. It's triggered him. We spoke about his anxiety as it's quite evident, and he said it started when his ex left him in the flat as above, and he was jobless for 10 months, that his current job has made it worse. So he's got to go see therapists or a coach like myself, hypnotherapy, what have you. He's addressed that he has a problem, okay? And it's not you. By the way, I'm going to add, you haven't really gave me a background on yourself, but I'm just going to take a wild guess and say you don't have a background to treat borderline personality disorder. This is what happens. People get in relationships. They get into a relationship with some people that have mental health issues. They go online. They talk about it. They're not really trained in it. They don't really know a lot about it. And they try to fix it. They try to say things, and they might even make it worse than it started. This individual probably needs to bow out of the relationship for a little while, go see therapy, keep in touch with you if you're up for that, but really focus on this and ask himself some literal questions like, is this job contributing, or am I unhappy overall? What am I carrying from this past relationship? The problem is when you're in a relationship and you're not a specialist in this field, is you try to help, which is good intentions. But really, you're going to wear yourself out. And in a lot of cases, you being the girlfriend, the wife, the lover, the partner, playing the hat of therapist also doesn't work. And you just don't know enough about this. You might be reading it online, but you still say the wrong things. He needs to go get some help. A few weeks ago, he said to me, I'm not feeling myself, and is confused about everything from work, himself, relationships, or committing to someone when I'm not even myself at the moment. Everything is, to be honest, babe. So translation, it's not you, it's me and where I'm at in my life right now. So don't take this personal. Don't try to fix you. And like I said, this is going to take an outside party. Now, this is the thing about therapy. The first person you go to might not be the good one for you. You might have to try 3 or 4 different people. But he's got to say, okay, I want help. You're not the one to do it. I might need some time and space. You're also not the problem. Although he said he will get back to feeling himself again, I asked him what not feeling himself means. And he said, when I'm not overthinking everything and work is more settled. If one part of my life is not going well, then I don't feel myself. And I like structure and routine. Okay, so very specific, lots of transparency there. I like structure and routine. I'm still settling into my job. He's giving you concrete reasons. He is open and communicates well and used to say at times, I'm looking for my person. I don't know whether this is you, but we shall see. Also that he really enjoys our time together and we connect on all levels, and told my mom I won't settle this time. If it's you, then good, which I hope it is, but genuinely, I don't know if you're my person. Bottom line, you've only been together 2.5 months. So what he's saying, I like it, right? He's saying like, and this is the thing, you're 32, your biological clock's ticking. 32 to about 34 is a sweet spot for a lot of women where they really get a little bit anxious about locking a guy down and becoming official and being in a serious relationship. Now you might be like, well, that's not me. That's not how I'm. Most women, this is a period where like you meet a good guy or one that you think is good, and you get a little bit anxious on committing. The guy that's 36 that's been burned in past relationships is in an opposite path. He's going, I'm going to tread lightly. I've been burned. I really like you, but this is going to take me some time. The woman 32 to 34 is like, do you really like me? Do you really like you've met my parents? It's like you're going 0 to 100. And the guy's like, can we be at about 50? Okay. And the reason is he wants to take his time. He's got things going on in his life. He's been burned before. He's had a bad relationship. He wants to play this out a little bit. You're thinking, is it me? No. Slow down. I didn't mind him saying that. He was just expressing to me how he feels, although I did wonder why he would mention this a few times. I think what he's conveying is, translation, he settled before for someone he wasn't completely into and it didn't work out. So now he wants to take more time before he officially commits. I thought that maybe he was trying to hint something or that something was wrong. Well, I think I just translated the hint. It was also quite annoying when he spoke about the possibility of meeting someone naturally when I'm out and about and then maybe being my person. Right now, you're on two different sides of the spectrum. I think you're all in on seeing where this goes, and I think he's looking at it like, yeah, I like you, but I'm open to possibly meeting someone else. That might hurt you or upset you. He just doesn't have as strong of feelings as you do. Okay. And that's the case in a lot of relationships. Okay. There's always someone that cares a little bit more or a lot more than the other person. Further, he said to me that he was speaking to his mom, who really likes me, and told her that I'm amazing and cannot see any red flags with me, although something is missing and I can't work out what it is, but it may come to me. Well, the fact that he doesn't have stability at his job and he's mental health's off, I don't think it's you. See, this is what's dangerous in a relationship like this. If you've never been with someone that's bipolar, borderline personality disorder, I haven't either. This is new territory for you. And I don't think that it's going to be the same as it's been in past relationship for you. And that might frustrate you. I said to him that I feel the same way and that I don't know if he is the one for me. And we are just seeing how it goes. Why is you're 2.5 months in? Why do you even talk about someone being the one? To me, that subject's coming up because you want to meet the one. Just go out for the next few months, for the next 4 or 5 months, and see how things play out. I recently said that I'm open to getting to know other guys if it happens, especially given his life is quite unsettled at the moment and his confusion, that I don't want to pull my eggs into one basket. So you're both playing this tit for tat game. Oh, I don't really like you that much. I'm leaving the door open. Are you leaving Bumble app open, both of you? Because if you are, just be honest that you're not trying to play a game to trigger the other person. Okay? So this is what people do. They go, oh, well, you said this to me, so I'll say this to you, but really it's not how you feel. Do you really want him on a dating app or being open to seeing other people? Because this is what people do. You hurt me, I'll hurt you. You hit me, I'll hit you. And you guys are both going, well, I can leave I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket. He was quite shocked and said that I never once said to him and that he's deleted the dating app. Oh, I haven't read this yet. And this is synchronicity here. Deleted the dating app. So how am I going to talk to people? I said I'm not actively looking anyway, and I was speaking to someone and went on a date or something that I would always be honest about it. The reason why you're telling him I said I'm not actively looking anyway, and I was speaking to someone and went on a date or something like that, I would always be honest about it. You're telling him that's what I do, so I'd appreciate it if you do the same thing. He said he would never tell me to do something, and basically we left it at that. He concluded our understanding of this conversation as we will carry on as we are and see how it goes and enjoy it, but still open to other things as well if they happen to be honest with each other. He said we don't have to talk about it anymore until that happens. Bottom line is he's not committed. It's 2.5 months in. You think it's really special that you've met each other's families. That's good. You see each other 1 or 2 times a week. That's good. It's moving at a slower pace. You guys are kind of needling each other for where's this headed, this or that and the other. It's not fireworks. It's not wine glasses and rose petals. So it does sound like there is something missing here. I'd say answer this question on a scale of 1 to 10. What's your trust? On a scale of 1 to 10, what's your intimacy? Attraction goes with that. On a scale of 1 to 10, what's your connection and chemistry? If I'm going to have to guess, I bet your trust is below 7. I would say your attraction's probably around 6 or 7. And I would say your connection and chemistry is fleeting. It probably runs from a 6 to an 8 or 9. Tell me I'm wrong on that, but let me know. The other day when we met for lunch, I did sort of state that I am not sure if I see our union as long-term and that he is quite unsettled and I need someone to be settled. Here's the thing. You're 2.5 months in. This is great that you wrote this, by the way. Thank you for writing your story. This is great information for me to help you and give you tailored advice. Thank you. So this is classic 32, 33, 34. I want a long-term relationship. I want to know now. I want certainty 2.5 months in. The male's going, it's only been 2.5 months. I still want to, I'm not ready to commit yet. And you're going, well, I want to settle the relationship. He's been burned before. Okay. He's not gonna go all in after 2.5 months, even though you've met each other's families. Okay. He's not. You want it settled, so you want an answer. You're going to push him away. Most men that are 36, especially that have been divorced or have had a bad relationship prior to, they're not going to go all in. And this is great that you wrote this, because this is exactly what you're doing. You're saying 2.5 months is not very long. There's a lot of guys that are still feeling this out. Yeah, we're seeing each other exclusive, but I'm not ready to marry you. I'm not ready to take the next step as much as you. He agreed and said he doesn't know if he can commit to one person. There's your transparency. You're 2.5 months in. He's not ready to commit to one person. You have a choice. Now, on the flip side, 2.5 months, 1 to 2 times a week, 1 hour distance. Why are you pushing it? Because it doesn't sound like the relationship is good enough or exciting enough, or even in the honeymoon phase enough to make them go, yeah, I want that. But by the way, this is the problem. Adults in their 30s with life experience don't like to be coaxed into decisions. Following our conversation, we decided to just be friends. However, I know that I caused a lot of confusion and apologize. I don't have a problem with your conversation. I'm just saying it can turn a guy off when he's saying, like, let's just see how things go. Let's just see how things go. 2.5 months in, 1 to 2 times a week. Let's see how things go. I mean, what is it that you really wanted? To start living together? You want a full-on commitment? Give the guy credit. He's being honest. I'm not ready to commit yet. Okay? Now, here's the thing. If you can accept that, not make a big deal out of it, continue to date, continue to have outstanding intimacy, if that's there, continue to have fun and be supportive and loyal when you're with him and you're present with him, he might come to that conclusion on his own. But by you tapping him on the shoulder, say, hey, I want to be official. I want to be official. I think you need more time to marinate the love and the romance in the relationship, because that part doesn't seem to be boiling. As after a couple of days, I contacted him saying that I have had some time to think and I want to know whether he would like to continue dating. See, and seeing where this goes. Amongst the text, he said, I can't, babe, as I'm not in the right place, so wouldn't want to hold you back from meeting someone or your person while I'm sorting myself out. But he would like to be friends, and he can't see me not being in his life in some way. So you might think like, oh, he's just not ready for this, but he's just not ready to be committed. You want a committed relationship. He's not ready to do that. If you want to be friends, that's fine. I would say this. If you leave the friend door open and allow to be your friends with benefits, maybe you guys can grow into something. I feel really bad for the confusion I caused him, for putting doubts in his head, and feel sad we got along well. You just want different things. And this is very common in women 32 to like 35. They want a relationship. They want seriousness. They don't want to mess around. It's very common for guys 36 all the way up to 45, 50. They're gun shy about being in a monogamous, serious relationship. They want to take their time. They want to sell themselves on being in a relationship on their own. They don't want you to be like, hey, this is what I want. Now, on the flip side, he's got some mental issues that he needs to work on. Leave him alone for a little bit. Give him some space. I don't think you did anything wrong here. I told him that I would find it difficult to be friends, and he respects that. Maybe this wouldn't have happened if I didn't put doubts in his head. I'll tell you right now, if he has no one else lined up and your intimacy was good, which you didn't really mention, yes or no, if your intimacy was good and you leave him alone for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, he's going to call you. You might say like, "Oh, I was just thinking of you, this or that." Um, it's been 2 years that he's been out of relationships, and in 2 to 3 weeks, um, he'll probably call you because of wanting to hook up. And you might think, "Oh, no, that's not how I'm just telling you how it is." Guys will be like, "Oh, I miss her so much. I miss her." Are you seeing someone else? Intimacy counts, okay? If he's not seeing someone else, he probably will call you. He might use the friends card because he doesn't wanna be 0 to 100. Like I said, he wants to take his time with this. You don't. Maybe this wouldn't have happened if I put doubts in his head. Why is dating so difficult? I welcome your thoughts and views. Dating is not difficult. You met someone you like on Bumble. You're creating this narrative in your own head. I'd say the number one thing that's going to impede you from getting that serious relationship is the fact that, well, you want commitment after 2.5 months. A lot of guys in their 30s and 40s don't want to commit that early. And you're like, what's their problem? I know what I want. They don't know what they want. His statement where he said, let me go back to that statement. I'm sorry. He said, I don't want to settle this time. What he means by that, that's not personal. That's not personal. That means he wants to get to know you. 2.5 months, 1 to 2 times a week, you're not getting to know someone for at least 6 to 8 months. Okay. So you're trying to get someplace that he wants to take his time and be a little safer journey, if that makes sense. Now, if you want to book a live coaching session, we can get a little deeper on this. And we can also get deeper on the fact that you think dating's difficult. I could help you with that because that's a mindset, that's a program you have. You're going to make it true over and over again. And actually, this will hurt your chances of finding a good guy because you'll have it in the back of your head subconsciously that dating's difficult, guys don't like to commit, and it's just one guy. This isn't personal. The fact that you met someone on a dating app that you connected well with says something good about you, right? All right, so let me just get into the comments really quick. I am going to start doing some reaction videos. And I was just looking this up on YouTube. So if any of you guys want to put in the comments any videos that you want me to react to, I'm going to start doing those. I've been thinking about this for quite a while. I'll probably do a few less live streams each week rather than doing them so much. The views are just not as high. We do have a nice little community here. And so if you have any suggestions as far as if you guys would want to take it to a Discord, or I might do a private YouTube group where you'd pay something maybe every month, like $10 a month or something like that. And we could do private chats with maybe 10, 15 people. Let me know what you think about that. Let me get into the live stream real quick. G Money, if you're on deck, thank you. Justin Brown, always a pleasure. Rob IS, just don't be like the beta man on the Friends called Ross. Okay. Just watching Friends would be a little bit beta to me. I knew someone that he was a programmer in the Bay Area. He knew every Friends episode by heart because he used to leave it on in the background while he programmed. I thought, wow, that's intense. Friends is not a masculine show, if you ask me, but it's all right. Slippers is kind of a lifestyle show choice. I mean, I wear flip-flops quite a bit, but I mean, like I said, it's up to the individuals. Dormant volcano, you like that one. Mount St. Helens was once a dormant volcano. We all know what happened there. Sometimes two drastically different careers will clash. Very true. The girlfriend that plays the part of the therapist is usually a relationship that eventually won't work. And there's good intentions there. Okay. Like me being a coach for 4 years, me being certified as a hypnotherapist now, doing some work with EFT. You get better at this stuff. You learn a lot by dealing with people. Just that you have one relationship where you love someone, you go online, educated about yourself, you're not going to be in a position to say the right things. You're also going to be highly biased. And so take a step back and help that individual make some choices. I'm going to do a video on a book that just came out. I'm just going to write down the author's name. Excellent book on depression. It's actually an older book. I shouldn't say it just came out. Michael Yopko. Excellent book. Probably one of the best books on depression and just dealing with the times now. I believe that's his name, Michael Yopko. I'll be doing a review on that. Girlfriend broke up with me a month ago, and I've been in no contact for about 3 weeks. Jeremy Brown, what do you want to know? Do you want to get a coaching session or send your story in? This is one of those things I'm going to tell you. For me to give you some tailored advice or help you out, I need to know your story. If I would say the center question to ask yourself, Mr. Brown, is, do you want her back? Is the relationship worth getting back together? If not, stick with no contact. What's the alternative? And if you haven't unpacked everything that happened in the relationship, 3 weeks out is one of the most difficult times. So I'd suggest you book a live coaching session with myself to get some clarity just at where you're at and just divulge everything. Friends and family are good, but they usually aren't the people to go to on these kinds of things. They're just going to project what's happened to them. Sounds like she's been rather serious very fast. Sounds to me that he can be replaced ASAP if a new option comes in the picture. 2.5 is a very short period of time. Maybe this is a discussion that should be taking place 5 to 7 mark. Gay in NYC says he doesn't like her that much. She should keep looking. My take is that he might like her a lot. He's just gun shy. If he's had a bad relationship, he's in a bad career right now, and he just wants to take his time. There's a lot of guys out there. This is my experience being a coach. There's a lot of guys out there that if they've had a divorce or a bad breakup, they're going to take their time in the next relationship, even if it's good and they really like the girl. They're not going to jump in. And I think that's where he's at. He could very much like her if he's met her family and whatnot. But the fact that he wants to take his time where she wants answers, very common scenario, especially with a woman 32 to 34. Very common. She just needs to keep it a bit more free and easy. Seems like she wants to make it a race, not a slower marathon where attraction can be built. It amazes me how we take sexual health risks before commitment. Why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free? Okay. Yeah, those private chats are a good option. I think people would like it. He knew all the Friends episodes. That's a good way to watch beta men get the results that would never happen in real life. Okay, bud. There is good intentions. There is good intentions of the girlfriend that acts the part of the therapist. However, likely eats away at their subconscious attraction and eventually will start to lose attraction. I'm with you on that. What's the name of the book again, Coach? Look up Michael Yopko. You know what? I can pull it up on Audible. Hold on. Give me a moment. So process-oriented hypnosis is one of his books. But the book I'm talking about, Breaking the Patterns of Depression, excellent book. I think that anyone with depression or dealing with that or some kind of level of it, the amazing thing that he does is he gives you things to do. He doesn't just talk about what happens. And you could probably go down that rabbit hole of typing his name into YouTube and looking up some of the talks he's had, Eve. And good to see you, Eve. Since it's not an element of attraction for the girlfriend to lead the relationship, the boyfriend is not her client. Absolutely. I like the book Essentials of Hypnosis by he's a good author. And like I said, one of his approaches is he actually tells you things to do. So myself being in this space for a long time, dealing with people with breakups and stuff, I'm really tired of surface advice like find your purpose, chase excellence. Hearing that over and over again, just regurgitated by different coaches and different authors, it's just extremely generalized information. It's true, but like, what are the tools of how you can do that? And that's why I'm putting together some Zoom courses that I want to do to actually get in groups of 10 to 20 people on Zoom and actually do some stuff, right? Where we talk about like having some homework to do at home. Yeah, and the book doesn't just, so for example, that book, what's beautiful about it is that he doesn't just go take action. It's like he gives you all these options. He goes into it a little deeper. It's really nice. He's looking for strategies. So I would say I currently don't have depression, but that would probably be, I just listened to it on Audible recently. And this is what I do as a coach to sharpen the tool shed in my mind when I'm helping out clients, is I listen to books like this, right? And it's really interesting because when you get into depression or when you get into a bad breakup, you don't really think about being preventive about that. So even if you don't have depression, that book is just a good book overall for mental health. Like I said, I'm really considering doing a whole Zoom course on that book. It's that good. Exactly, people what direct instruction, that's the best way to progress further. I once heard a very experienced psychiatrist say, never play someone else's therapist, even if it works. They'll leave you because you remind them of being sick. Wow, that's a good, I've never thought about that. The other thing that happens now, gay and NYC, one of the greatest tag names on the internet right now. Thanks for sharing that. Never play someone else's therapist, even if it works. They'll leave you because you remind them of being sick. I would add, there's a lot of internet therapists out there that are very educated on what they know from the internet, and they have bipolar disorder or one of these things, and they often project it onto their partner because they want them to, play in the same pig pen is what it is. Is that literally they want them to relate. And so be wary of that also. All right, folks, I do have to go. That is something that eats away by someone's subconscious attraction. It's not attractive for a girlfriend to act that way. It will repel attraction at the deeper level. Excellent. Thanks, Rob. Thanks, Gay and NYC. Eve, check that book out. I'll be in contact at some point. And G Money, Jeremy Brown, go ahead and send your story in if you like. If not, all the best.